Welcome to Art Ed Radio, the podcast for art teachers. This show is produced by the Art of Education, and I'm your host, Tim Bogatz. Now, after the Now conference is over, I generally have a little bit of time freed up, and one of the things that I like to do in that free time is catch up with some TV that I haven't been able to watch. So back in December, I saw that there was a Lisa Frank documentary that came out on Prime Video. So I'm a little late to the party in actually watching it, but I was finally able to watch the docuseries. It's called Lisa Frank, Glitter and Greed. What a great name, right? And I want to read you the description of the series. It says, it's a 4-part documentary event that penetrates the neon-hued world of Lisa Frank Incorporated, a brand that defined girlhood for a generation of Americans, only to seemingly disappear overnight. Behind the rainbows and psychedelic illustrations, we unravel a nostalgia-soaked, stranger-than-fiction tale that takes us into the hidden world that has been lurking at the heart of the company for decades. Great description, great writing. I love it. And the documentary starts strong. Like visually, it's very nice. Directors do a very good job. They give a good introduction to Lisa Frank and what she, or at least what her company, is all about. Okay, but it just turns into this story about toxic relationships and a toxic workplace and a lot of misogyny and narcissism. And so it honestly made me feel terrible when I was done watching it. So I originally wanted to make this podcast episode all about the documentary, but to be honest, I don't want to talk about it for that long. And it didn't live up to what I was expecting from it. But we're going to kind of expand the discussion today a little bit. And I have Amanda Hine and Abby Shukai here to talk with me about some topics beyond the documentary. Okay, we'll get into the show, yes, but I also need them to educate me on what it was like growing up a fan of Lisa Frank. And I want to get their reactions to these stories about the company. And I think we want to have a little bit bigger discussion about nostalgia and the joy that art can bring us. So let me bring on Abby and Amanda. All right, I have Abby Shukai and Amanda Hine joining me. Abby, how are you?
Doing well. I'm, just sitting in my rainbow glory right now. I'm ready to go.
All right, Amanda, how are you?
I'm great. I would like to point out that Abby and I dressed for the occasion, and Timothy Bogatz is wearing all black.
Again, as we'll get into in the pod, I'm not as big of a Lisa Frank fan, not as big of a Rainbow fan. So I feel like it's appropriate, to be honest.
I feel like you didn't try very hard, but okay.
Both things can be true.
It's a both and situation.
Okay, so in the intro to the podcast, I kind of gave a rundown of the documentary, but I also said that I was hoping that you two would both educate me on what it would be like growing up as a Lisa Frank fan, because this was not part of my experience. This was not my thing. So I asked my wife, hey, did you love Lisa Frank? She's like, oh my God, yes. And I asked what it was like. And she said, well, there was one store at the mall that just had all the Lisa Frank stuff. And you walked in there and it was magical. She used the word magical. And she said, as a girl in elementary school, it was everything that you could possibly want. So, Amanda, I'll ask you first. Does that vibe with your experience?
Yes, definitely. I was a child who had rainbow unicorn sheets and also orca whale sheets. There was nothing I loved more than rainbows and unicorns. And like Lisa Frank, to this day, if I look at one of those folders, like my brain just lights up in a way that it does not for any other thing. Like
dopamine.
Instant dopamine. So good. The dolphins were my favorite because I think I've said this on the pod before, like every other elementary aged girl, I wanted to be a marine biologist. That seemed like a very attainable career
Absolutely.
path for me. So anything was a dolphin with a dolphin was my favorite. I also loved the orca. In this documentary, I learned the orca's name was Max, which is the name of my personal child, one of them. And I just felt like a real full circle moment. Like maybe I had been subliminally, getting messages or something. But anyway, I had the Trapper Keeper. I had the folders. I had the pencils. Like it was a great time in my life.
I love it. I love it. Abby, same for you. Did you have the Trapper Keepers? Did you have the folders, the stationery? Like what was it for you?
Yeah, so I wasn't really like a Trapper Keeper girly because that's too much organization. And I was like, I was the crumpled backpack kid. But yes, I remember I still have some of the folders that are at my parents' house from
those are probably worth like $1 million.
Probably, but they're worn and used. But I was a big stationery stan. And I know this is a podcast, but I am showing this is a vintage. I'm showing it's a Hollywood, it's the bear that has Hollywood, but a stationery card set that I still have. And I use it sparingly.
Oh my gosh.
I growing up, did you all have pen pals? Like real pen pals?
Oh, I had pen pals. Yes.
Yeah, we were forced to have pen pals at school. I don't think I would have chosen the pen pal life, but the pen pal life was chosen for me.
Yeah. Well, then sometimes pen pals would go beyond school a little bit. Like you actually really liked your pen pal. And I exclusively would only write my pen pals with Lisa Frank stationery. And I still have this small collection of it that I use very sparingly because I'm like, this could be it. And you go online to see what it, what people are selling it as. And it's like, that's insane because I'm not about to spend hundreds of dollars on 10 note cards or whatever.
Right.
But then I loved the fuzzy posters.
Yes.
I remember just sitting on the floor. We had lap boards and I would just color that and color it. So those were,
I forgot about the fuzzy posters. Oh my gosh.
I had no idea about the fuzzy posters.
Oh my gosh, they were
new to me.
Like flocked paper. Yeah, like velvet, like black. Yeah, and then the white spaces you would color in.
Okay, I remember those. I do not remember Lisa Frank ones specifically. So again, I'm missing out. So no, I appreciate y'all sharing those with me. So I guess follow-up question for that. Did the Lisa Frank artwork or the style ever make its way into your classroom while you're teaching? Did we pass that point? Is it too old for kids? Or is there a modern equivalent to something similar now? Abby, can I have you answer that one first?
Yeah, I think, it's something that I've never talked about ever in my classroom before, specifically Frank. I actually did ask some of my students just the other day if they knew who she was, and they all were like, excuse me, what? I also have a student teacher right now who's in her, she's in her early 20s. And I asked, I was like, do you know Lisa Frank? And she was like, kind of, not really. So it's definitely something that's not part of their pop culture at all. But I think there's probably some artists that maybe kind of give a similar vibe in some ways, just in the color and the pattern and the things like that we are bringing into the classroom. I would definitely say even some of the modern pop artists, if you will, who are kind of using more symbols, hearts, smiley faces, that type of thing, even the Ramiro Brittos of the world kind of give some of the same type of feeling in some ways, just, not quite whales and unicorns and dolphins.
Okay, fair. So Amanda, what about you?
Yeah, I don't think I didn't teach about it, but like my sensibilities of liking that style, like definitely made me do projects about rainbows, right? I taught elementary, like there were a lot of rainbow projects. I also love glitter and I'm not afraid to say it. Like we used glitter in the art room and I feel like I don't know, it's connected in some way. I would also say Jen Stark is probably like an equivalent of like just like sensory color overload.
Right.
Like when you look at a Lisa Frank poster, like, yes, it's a dolphin, but like it's so much more than a dolphin. Do you know what I mean? It's like a rainbow. It's like, I feel almost as though Lisa Frank is like what AI creates these days. Like, but like before AI existed. Do you know what I mean? If you were like making a dolphin, it would be like this crazy cartoon rainbow dolphin. Or maybe that's because AI is using
AI
Lisa
trained
Frank
on
as
Lisa
source
Frank.
content. I don't know.
I just had a really random thought. I don't know if you are all familiar with the band called Rainbow Kitten Surprise, but that's a band.
I am not. I feel like I need to
writing
look
it
them up
down.
now.
Okay, and like you would think there'd be a ton of rainbows, but there's not, and their music doesn't sound like that. But like, wow, Rainbow Kitten Surprise, that would have been a missed opportunity for a Lisa Frank collab for
Oh
them.
my gosh. Right. Well, there's still time, as we'll discover.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, I love all of that. No, and Jen Stark was one artist I thought of, and Takashi Murakami was another artist that I thought I see some similarities there when I was thinking about that. Okay, so let's talk about the documentary. I would love to know, just I don't know, in a sentence or two, like just what you thought of it and kind of what you felt about it after you're done watching, because like I didn't really have any expectations going in. I guess I didn't know what was coming. I didn't have an attachment to Lisa Frank or the work. So I want to kind of step back. I'll add my thoughts. But Amanda, like, can you tell us sort of your emotions as you were watching, and then kind of your feelings as you got done with all of the episodes?
Yeah, like long sigh. It left me feeling, in one sentence, this documentary left me feeling dead inside.
Okay.
I just like, it was wild how bad it was. The outside was so amazing and bright and cheer. Like we said, it's magical. It's wonderful. And the inside was just like full of awful, toxic happenings. Like, are Lisa and James, like, they're like modern tortured artists, but like instead of cutting their ears off, they're just like not letting people eat dinner. I don't know. It was wild. I felt bad after I was done.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I'll talk about that in a second. Abby, what did you think? Like going through it, what were your emotions when you were done? How were you feeling, or what were you thinking about it?
Well, I don't know. I first going into it, I kind of thought like, oh, like, are they like twisting this in some way that, you know, Lisa Frank is going to come out good? And then it just like kept getting worse. Worse. So it was just kind of like, ugh. And honestly, this is the feeling that I had. So if there's any children listening right now, spoiler.
We have a trigger warning, a spoiler alert. Okay.
10 seconds or whatever. Okay. Okay, this is how it made me feel. It made me feel like when I found out that Santa Claus was not real. Like, like it was just like, and then there was like this sense of like sadness and grief in some ways, where it's like, well, I have like all this nostalgia connected to it all, but then it's like, well, should I like it? It just like left a bad taste.
Yeah. It's like when you find out all of the artists from art history were like terrible people, and you're like, well, do I have to stop going to museums, or like,
right?
What should I do?
Well, and I don't know, like for me, it started out interesting. It started out pretty fascinating, actually, with just interviewing all the people, like how things started up. I thought that was great. I thought the directors did a great job of color coding the interviews. Did you all notice
Same.
that?
Yes.
Oh, yes,
It's
yes.
beautiful. So, like,
So
they
good.
go into somebody's house and be like, oh, they have an orange wall. We need to go buy them an orange shirt to wear for the interview. So, visually, it's beautiful. It
Uh-huh.
started out
I think it
fascinating.
took me the second episode to figure that out
Okay.
for some
Okay.
reason,
Yeah.
but that was awesome.
No, like once you realize it, you're like, this is amazing. But then I just felt like it just beats you down over the course of the 4 episodes. Like, here's more toxicity, here's more misogyny, here's more narcissism. And like, it is the worst. And, by the end of episode 4, I'm thinking like, cool, let's wrap this up. Maybe there's some, a high note to go out on. Maybe there's some redeeming qualities to share, and there's nothing.
No.
No one has any redeeming qualities. No part of the story makes you feel good. You just get done with it, and you're just like, oh, like I felt so sad at the end of it, and it was just a sad 4 episodes to watch.
So I never did the follow up on this. Obviously, there's an impending lawsuit happening. Like, is
Of
it
course
still,
there is.
I'm assuming, they talked about the makeup people, the glamour pop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that trial still ongoing? I have no idea when this documentary was filmed.
It came out not that long ago, so it was filmed recently. I think they did like the follow-up at the end where they like flashed the like sober white letters on the black screen. And I think it said that a court dismissed
and it's going to trial.
Yeah. Okay. So, but then it's still going to trial. Okay. I don't know. My guess is it hasn't happened yet, but we could fact check that.
All right. I will get on the fact checking because I do not have an answer for you either. And if I find something, I will put an update in the show notes for everyone. So we will leave that there. Okay. Now, I asked you both to do a little bit of homework. I wanted you to write down your top 3 moments in the documentary where just your jaw dropped or you're just like, wow, and not necessarily in a good way. So, Abby, I would love for you to start. What were your top 3 moments?
Okay. So first thing, they talked about, Lisa Frank being like such this private person. There's not very many pictures of her or whatever, but then they just magically have a home video.
I was going to say all kinds of home videos about it.
of her wedding. And I don't know, I think she got married in like 1994, but her wedding dress was so cool.
I was going to say that was a good wow, actually. That wedding dress was a good wow.
That was like the only good wow of the whole thing, but I was like, it was cool. So to kind of paint a picture of it, it was very like, 90s strapless type of dress, but then it was like, had these rosette flowers that are in rainbow color all across. And then she had a hat on.
Yeah, the hat, the wedding hat.
Yes. It reminded me of the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap scene where the mom's trying on hats with the veils or like at a model shoot. So it was very much like that. But it also had rainbow flowers around it. And I was like, that is awesome. Okay. So then so I lied. There are 2 wow things that I actually liked about it. Here's the second one. Obviously, her kids are probably have some big trauma that they're dealing with. But I loved that they named them Forest and Hunter Green.
I know.
Right. Forest Green and Hunter Green.
It's amazing.
So good. Like, I kind of wish that they would have had more kids just so like
Jade. Maybe they would have a little girl, Jade.
A girl is definitely going to be Kelly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kelly.
Awesome. So like those
possibilities are endless.
I'll bring the positivity here with the 2 wows, but then other than that, my last takeaway was when they're interviewing all of these former employees, and they were talking about how some of them were like, we seriously had like PTSD from working here. They talked about even that guy that like died at work. He like had
had a heart attack, and they just like kept going like nothing had happened.
They just carried him out, and then everyone went back to work.
But him calling that, one of the employees called it rainbow traumatic art disorder. And I was like, that is so real. I'm like, that must be so real for them. And then you see like, some of them who were living their dreams as artists in some ways and illustrators. And now they're like, oh, I don't ever want to like work for someone to, they kind of like ruined art for them.
That one guy was making his construction company's Christmas card for his joyful outlet. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, just one of my overwhelming feelings, one of those things that I just kept repeating while I was watching is like, oh, this person needs to go to therapy. And like the two sons, especially, they have a lot to work through, but I feel like almost every person who worked there, they interviewed like, you need some sessions with the therapist. Like it would really be helpful. So, Amanda, on that note, top 3 times for you that made you just go, wow.
Okay. I also have a good wow. Well, I don't know if it's good. It's a mixed messages wow, because the first time my jaw dropped was when they said that she majored in art education.
Yes, I forgot about that.
And I was like, oh my gosh, fun. And then I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine the type of teacher she would be? But then they said like she would put like smiley faces on your work if she liked it. And I was like, oh, is that like a teaching thing? I don't know. It was just like, that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, they were never clear if she like actually finished. Like, finished to go there or not. Because, they talked about how like she was still in college when she got her first sticker deal or whatever. So I also really wondered about that. But then I was also like, she probably would have been thank goodness she didn't become a teacher because she would have traumatized so many kids. So many.
Very true.
Okay, so that was my first. Okay, the second time my jaw dropped was there's James is her husband in the intro, her ex-husband, and he has a tattoo. Well, first of all, he was like, I don't have a temper. I don't have a temper. Hey, nobody say I have a temper. And then he has a giant tattoo that says blame James.
Yes.
And I was like, what a narcissist. Like, oh my, like it's a huge tattoo on his arm. Like it's so weird. Like that is the weirdest tattoo I have ever seen.
He's just taking being a professional victim to the next level. Like
permanently.
Here's the thing. Towards the end, you kind of were like, okay, James isn't that bad.
I think James is that bad. I just think
strongly
that bad.
There are some parts of it though but I'm like Lisa Frank was so bad that he seemed good.
I think he still seemed bad.
I was just gonna say all 3 of my wow moments are all about James, so that tells you where I'm coming from on this.
Okay,
you do not love him, but Amanda, what was your third?
Okay, my third thing was they were interviewing her son Hunter, and he was talking about how his mom was so selfish. Like she was at work all the time. She never had any time for her family. And then he was like, and my dad was working so hard and blah, blah, blah. And the interviewer said, why do you feel that your mom's work made her selfish, but your dad's work made him ambitious? And I had to pause the documentary because I was like, this is every working mom. Like, both of them were terrible. That aside, the fact that their kiddo was like, my mom was horrible for working and my dad was awesome for working, like just really made me stop in my tracks. I thought it was a really poignant point that the interviewer made.
Yeah. And it was really interesting too that Hunter had talked about how he felt like his mom first he never called her mom.
No, he only called her
Lisa. But he talked about like how Forrest was the favorite.
Yeah.
He wasn't. So like there's obviously an interesting dynamic between that. And then it's like, I have a lot of questions for Forrest. We didn't hear
me too. Where's Forrest?
I know. I want to hear from Forrest. I want to hear from Lisa. Like there's so many unresolved questions. So yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so Amanda, you covered two of my top three moments. James literally yelling at the camera about how he does not have a temper. That was amazing. His tattoo was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And then him saying, I think is the beginning of episode 2, he's like, well, I am the documentary. I am Lisa Frank. It's like the levels of narcissism with this guy are incredible. So
did anybody ever follow up and look at, he was saying that he own a bar or a restaurant, but then he sold artwork and t-shirts and stuff. Did anybody follow up and look at them?
I did not. Did you?
I did. Same, not like very like rainbow element. I think if you just type his name, I found it like through his Instagram page, James Green something, but I don't remember what it was listed as. But he had animals in there, unicorns and stuff like that, but they weren't quite so rainbowy. Definitely kind of that animal feel to them. But some of them were like very interesting. Maybe it was the merchandise it was on. I'm not sure, but definitely go check it out.
I'm very intrigued, and I will just say we'll add this to the show notes as well. So, okay. I honestly cannot in good faith like tell people to watch this because I felt so terrible after I was done with all 4 episodes. I don't know if you all agree, but I do want you to answer this question for me. You should watch this series. You should watch this documentary if blank. Okay, so Abby, for people, people out there, you should watch this series if what?
You want to ruin all the nostalgia and joy of your childhood.
Okay, great. Amanda, your message for listeners, you should watch this show if
you're in the mood to feel sad and weird inside.
That's fair.
Or you've watched literally every other show in the world and you still need more television.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair too. So I was just going to say you should watch it if you're a Lisa Frank hater, which I don't think there's a lot of haters out there. But even that was kind of the perspective I was coming from. Not a hater, but just didn't love her. But even then, even if you hate her, it becomes too much. It's just too much toxicity all throughout, and it's a tough watch for sure. So I don't know. I would love to hear from people if they have other perspectives. Like if they really love this, then I think that would be great. But honestly, they said glitter and greed, and there's all of the greed, but not nearly enough glitter, in my opinion.
I'll agree.
I don't think they showed it once.
Well, yeah, they did in the intro when the ceramic unicorn breaks and then the glitter shoots everywhere.
Okay, yeah.
In an ominous way.
Yeah. With the music, it's interesting. Okay, so I guess I would love to, if y'all don't mind, just kind of circle back and end on a little bit of a better note because I don't love the nostalgia here that leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. So I would love for you to share another memory from art class or from elementary school that really makes you happy, you really love, or something you look back on fondly. So Amanda, would you be willing to share something?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to talk about my first grade school picture because I feel like there's a connection. Because in my first grade school picture outfit, I had a unicorn cardigan with unicorn buttons. And it was purple, teal, and white. And then I had my bangs. I was really inspired by The Little Mermaid. And like for some reason, my mother let me use like hairspray as a 7-year-old. And so I would wave my bangs like Ariel. And then I would like spray them so much that they would like flap up in a chunk in the wind. And that photo has been lost to time. Like,
that's so unfortunate.
Find it. I know, but it's burned into my memory forever. And if they made a grown-up version of that sweater, I would absolutely wear it today. It just makes me so happy every time I think about it.
No, that's fair. So, Abby, what about you?
Yeah, so I was always the kid obviously loved art class always, but any contest, it was those, those poster contests that we get sent in the mail, and
Mm-hmm.
I just throw them away now. But I was the kid. I was the kid who did all of those things. I loved it so much. And then I would like always win. And like sometimes you'd win money because maybe people weren't doing it. But and then even just like the pride of, my artwork often got chosen to go to the art show like all the time. And then you'd go to the art show, and there's just like nothing more fun than having, showing up and being like, oh my gosh, how did I do? And then you saw a ribbon. But this is a Lisa Frank tie-in, which like is actually wild now that I think about it. But there's a specific time that I remember. It was like at a summer church festival, and there was an art contest, and I had entered into it, and I was in kindergarten, and I entered into it. My drawing won. And the prize was a Lisa Frank teddy bear.
Oh,
white rainbow one.
my gosh.
And I loved that thing. And then it became like I would draw it and, just all of the colors. But that is a moment that I will never forget. And now I'm like, wow. I'm still going to tie that to good memories, though, because it was awesome.
That's what it should be. We should be tying these things to good memories. So I'm glad that you can get past the toxicity of the documentary and still
what
keep
if you like
good
pushed
memories.
a button on the bear and it was like, you suck, in Lex's voice?
Or just James
Get back to work.
It is James yelling.
I could see that. No, that would be good.
Tim, what about you?
I was just going to say I have one that's similar to Abby's. I actually did not have art class in elementary school. Like our classroom teachers had to teach us art. But yeah, once upon a time, though, a muralist came into our school, and she was going to paint hot air balloons on like the multi-purpose room wall. And so she did a whole lesson with us, and we designed hot air balloons to be painted up there. And my design got chosen. So I was one of like the 9 hot air balloons. And last time I was at the elementary school, it's still up there. Like 35 years later. So it was very cool. So that was one of my great art memories from elementary school.
I love it. I wish you had a picture of it. Do you have a picture of it?
I don't. I should go back and find it and take a picture.
Totally. That's what you need to do.
Anyway, leaning in hard to the nostalgia, and I have a final question for you of if you could bring back one art supply, one thing that from your childhood that you really want to live in or bring back as far as nostalgia goes, what would that one art supply be?
I want the pen that has 10 colors. Or creepy crawlers. I don't know if that is an art supply, but is definitely an art project that does not exist anymore, and I loved creepy crawlers.
Miss the creepy crawlers?
I miss them.
That's fair. So, Abby, what about you?
Okay, so I loved making homemade stamps. This is vintage.
I love these
homemade stamps, homemade cards. So here we have, I loved whatever, we'd take ink or markers and like make it. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Just like the scrapbooking era of time, but I didn't scrapbook. I made homemade greeting cards exclusively. And then that later channeled in the pipeline to, do you remember Greetings Workshop?
Yes.
The card maker, I don't know, probably came out in like 1996 or something.
Yes.
It was like I think it was by Hallmark. I think it was a Hallmark program for Microsoft. And I just made greeting cards like it was nobody's business.
You would print them and then you would fold them. You could fold them and it would be, yes.
Yes, it was
I
like,
loved that.
It was like Canva before Canva. Like,
it also reminds me of Storybook Weaver. Did you have Storybook Weaver on the computer?
Yes. I didn't use it a lot, but I do remember it.
I was going to say, Abby did not have time for Storybook Weaver.
No, I was making puns.
All right. I was going to say the huge boxes of crayons with the pencil sharpener. I don't think they've ever gone away, but I just kind of want them in my life again. Like I never got the 96, but I did get the 64 with the sharpener, and it was one of the great days of my life. So I was going to say that, but then I remembered art briefcases. Do y'all remember that's like a little briefcase, a little suitcase? You open it up, and then like there's markers, there's watercolor, there's pencils, there's crayons, pastels, everything you need in one little briefcase. Are any of that?
But it was so bad.
No, they're terrible, but just opening it up for the first time, it's beautiful and it's lovable. So if I can bring back the feeling of opening up that briefcase, I would want to do that. All right. So, Abby, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on and for joining us to share stories and talk about kind of depressing documentaries. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully we can talk about Lisa Frank in a better way someday.
Someday. We'll hold out hope.
Thank you to Abby and Amanda for coming on and talking about glitter and greed with me. If you want to take a dive into the documentary, I will link to Glitter and Greed in the show notes so you can watch it for yourself. I will also share a link to a Jezebel.com article from about a decade ago, actually, that served as kind of an expose on Lisa Frank Incorporated and kind of tells us a similar story to what is in the documentary. And we are also discussing all of this over on the Art of Ed community. We would love to hear your thoughts on Lisa Frank, nostalgic art supplies, great memories from art class, or anything else that you want to share. So come join us over there. Art Ed Radio is produced by The Art of Education with audio engineering from Michael Crocker. Please be sure to subscribe so we can join you again. And if you love the show, please jump over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen and give us a 5-star rating and maybe even leave us a review. Thank you for listening.